Thank you, friends. Shabbat shalom. Greetings to you all. My heartfelt congratulations go out to Perry and Lana on your beautiful wedding. It was an honor for me to share it with you and your loving families and friends. The outpouring of support, care, and love is a wealth that cannot be measured or depleted. It will be part of your lives and the lives of everyone you touch for lifetimes to come. And it's a testament to the season of miracles we have coming up, because love is the greatest miracle of all. Let's take this quick moment so we can be thankful for all the miracles in our lives, my friends, including our health or happiness, and send out energy to help heal those in need of healing and renewal, sending goodwill, love, peace, and thanks. It's such an easy thing to do, to transmit energy to everyone you know in need. So think of those in need. Call out healing for them. And let's all send out some extra healing energy to Phil, who's recovering nicely from his transplant surgery, and for John, who's about to complete a very aggressive chemotherapy treatment. The kindness, healing wishes, goodwill, and love you all send out circles to the world of love and healing, finding those in need. So thank you, thank each of you. Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Mishberach, let us all have our spirits renewed. Such an easy thing for us to do. And of course, last week was the anniversary of the death of John Lennon. The great musical bard mowed down December 8th, 1980. Hard to believe it was 26 years ago. I was watching Monday Night Football at the time. Well, my friends, there is plenty more karma coming. We talked a few weeks ago about how every deed that we would observe would be repaid. And we have a tragic episode coming up, and it's set up in Genesis 31:19. And Laban had gone to shear his flocks, and Rachel stole the household gods that were her father's. And Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean. Well, remember that, my friends, the paybacks are going to continue. But first, Jacob is going to scheme and connive again regarding his brother again, who he has not seen in 20 years. Because this week, we see Jacob go home. The great return, the great reunion takes place. Vayashlach, and he sent. Now, to many, this parsha is about the events surrounding the reunion and the subsequent journeys that you'll see. You know, the night come falling from the sky in all of this episode. But I think that this parsha is really all about paying attention and asking questions. Not just listening to what you were told. You see, everything you have read points to Jacob being dishonorable, sneaky, conniving, scheming regarding his uncle, his wife, his father, and his brother, who he's not seen in 20 years. But at the same time, perhaps knowing what he did to him has kept him locked in fear. And so he schemes, possibly because he knows if it were reversed, maybe he would have held a grudge and killed his brother. But Esau held no grudge, did not need the gifts that were being offered, and in fact welcomed his brother with open arms. And we say, what? You see, our sages try and tell us that Esau was an abominable person, completely horrible in every way, shape, and form. But there is no evidence of it. Is this perhaps sanctioned lashon hara, evil tongue? Is it possible that our sages are making things up, twisting things in order to justify Jacob's behavior? Beware of what you are told. You may believe things about people with no justification. Are you doing that still? Do not listen to stories about anyone. Inquire, clarify, research. Try to find out for yourself. Do not rely on what other people have to say. Well, Jacob has walked miles, and he's nearing his home. So he sends men to greet his brother Esau. And they come back reporting that Esau's actually coming to meet him with 400 men. Genesis 32:8. And Jacob was greatly afraid, and he was distressed. And he divided the people that were with him, and the sheep and the cattle and the camels, into 2 separate camps. And he thought, should Esau come to the one camp and strike it, the remaining camp will escape. Always scheming, always fearing, he was afraid. Fear. It had driven him his whole life, and he's busy scheming, planning, anticipating, readying for the worst. See, fear is a projection of what has not happened onto the future, and it will paralyze you in the present. Remember, the most important holy day in the Torah is that of freedom from fear, Passover. So don't fear. If you hear a foreign sound to your ear, it's all right, Mom. I'm only sighing. What do you hear? Do you let projection or rumor feed your fear? Now, Jacob is busy anticipating something that not only has never happened, but that there's no evidence to suggest it will. It's purely of his own making. And when you see how he separates his camps, it speaks volumes about his own mental and emotional states and who and what is actually important to him. And it's really quite interesting to see. Save me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him. Well, he tries to placate his brother with stuff. He took from what he had in hand to tribute to Esau, his brother. Let me placate him with the tribute that goes before me, and after I shall look on his face, perhaps he will show me a kindly face. Friends, I heard a wonderful speaker the other evening reminding her audience that the real things that matter are not things. It was a great reminder for me too, especially as we are coming into the season of light, of miracles, of giving, when sometimes things take far too dominant a role in our lives. Now, we are on the cusp of the time of family, goodwill, and gift-giving. And I hope that the flight plans will be followed, because Santa and Hanukkah Harry take to the skies the same night. We'll be very busy between reindeer and dreidels. Anyhow, the real gifts are the gifts of love, of care. Make that phone call you haven't made. Make that apology you know you owe. The greatest gift is the gift of love, of forgiveness. Because all you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Now, perhaps that's the greatest anthem of love ever written. Now, Esau understood it. And we read that when we read the story. But Jacob does not get it. He doesn't get it now. He never does. Never in all of the things that you read. He sends the tribute ahead, separating his camps. And then one of the great Bible stories of all time takes place. Genesis 32:24. And Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. Well, no one knows who this man was. Or if it was a man, an angel, God, a night spirit. We don't know. But they wrestled to a draw. And there's that descriptive term again about wrestling. It's showing Jacob as a wrestler his whole life. Like his wife said that she had wrestled her sister in the week before. And the being says to him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." And he said, Not Jacob shall your name hence be said, but Israel. For you have wrestled with God and men and won out. Israel. Not a place, not a nation, but a name, meaning he who wrestles with God. And friends, who among us has not wrestled with God? Now, is that nameless stranger perhaps the portentous antagonism in Jacob's own dark night of the soul? That is himself. Do we even need a third party to say things to us about another? Or can we do that by ourselves? How hard is it for the twins inside each of us to have their own discussion? We saw it so brilliantly portrayed in modern times with Gollum talking to himself. One side named Gollum, one side named Smeagol. Convincing himself throughout the Lord of the Rings. Really well done. And it's interesting to note, my friends, that this name change of Jacob Israel is different from every other biblical name change, such as Abraham's, who upon his change simply ceased being Abram completely. But you will see that Jacob and Israel are both used throughout his life, throughout the rest of the Torah. See if you can tell what the nature of his character is with each use of the name. Is it possible the fearful, negative, scheming Jacob and the positive, forward-looking Israel? Genesis 33:4. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell upon his neck and kissed him and wept. Now, is this the action of a man out to kill you? This is, of course, the big surprise in the story of the twins. Instead of lethal grappling, Esau embraces Jacob in fraternal affection. Esau refuses the gifts, that is, the bribes, the guilty conscience payment of Jacob, and suggests they ride along together, catch up on old times. And in his typical fashion, Jacob says, well, he's got the children with him, it's only going to slow them down. So Esau should return home, and Jacob will come along in the next few days. Esau complies and goes home. Jacob turns and goes in the opposite direction to Shechem, and the brothers are never seen together again. His fear drove him away. Look how fear ruled Jacob's life from the time he left home till now. It's not about to change. We come down to the story of the rape of Dinah, Jacob's sole daughter. And note a few things about this episode. Note the reaction of Jacob to the incident and to his sons Simeon and Levi's response to it. And notice whether it is indeed a rape or the actions of two young lovers, a la Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. Now, the only clues we have are actually in the biblical Hebrew words used themselves. And we cannot be sure. We can only interpret. And interpretation suggests rape and defilement, followed by a lusting after and longing, which completely complicates the emotional response. But it is a story which once again our sages encourage us to believe is about rape, not love. Genesis 34:3. Shechem said to Hamor, his father, saying, take me this girl as a wife. And Jacob had heard that he had defiled Dinah, his daughter. Who reported this to Jacob? The only ones we know who said anything are his sons, and they were not there. Hathor, Shechem's father, comes to Jacob and says, Shechem, my son, his very self longs for your daughter. Pray, give her to him as a wife, and ally with us by marriage. Your daughters you will give to us, and our daughters take for yourselves, and among us you will settle. The land is before you. Let us have our peoples join in marriage, become family, live here together. Well, it sounds actually like a pretty good deal, doesn't it? And the young lover, Shechem, adds, let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say to me I will give. Name me however much bride price, clan gift, and I will give what you say to me, and give me the young woman as wife. Jacob's sons respond, we cannot do this thing, to give our sister to a man who has a foreskin, as that is a disgrace for us. Only in this way may we agree to you. If you will be like us, every male to be circumcised. Then we can give our daughters to you, and your daughters we can take for ourselves, and we can settle among you and become one folk. Now, that's a pretty big price. What happens? They agree to do it. All the men get circumcised, and while recovering from the pain, Simeon and Levi come and kill all the incapacitated men and loot the town. Wow, did they learn scheming from their father? Each of them will have created karma that will also be paid back. And Jacob's reaction to this? Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have stirred up trouble for me, making me stink among the land's inhabitants. If they gather together against me and strike me, I shall be destroyed, I and my household." And they said, "Like a whore should our sister be treated." Well, Jacob once again is concerned only with his own well-being. And the story reads more like the story of love than the story of rape. Now, is the indirect discourse of Simeon and Levi offered as justification for the massacre they perpetuated? Once again, it is stories, tales told, that dictate and obscure facts. Well, Jacob doesn't have to worry about the retribution of the men of Shechem, as God tells Jacob to return to where he saw the ladder, and at this point only, Jacob calls for his retinue to hand over their alien gods, which they do. And so this is the first sign that he actually is going to adopt and follow the God of Abraham and of Isaac. And God again tells him his name change. Now perhaps this whole section is really a second story of the name change being worked in. But here it signifies a new name for a new man, going forward into a glorious future, and this time we are told it is told by God. Well, Rachel then has her wish of having sons fulfilled. She had one, Joseph, who we're about to meet. She wanted another. Now she gives birth to Benjamin, the 12th of the 12 sons. The 12 tribes are complete, and she dies in childbirth. Her karma and Jacob's curse fulfilled. See, Jacob, has just lost the only woman he truly loved through an act of karma. Rachel stole her father's household gods at the very beginning of today's episode. And Jacob tells Laban that if anyone stole them, they should die. Well, Rachel stole them. Rachel dies. We say goodbye to the story of the patriarchs now. While Jacob still lives, the rest of Genesis turns to the story of Joseph, the great dreamer, the largest single story in the entire Bible. Well, the world is sacred, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And please do. Learn to forgive. Learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them, and take advantage of the time that you have. Enjoy your journey on this planet. Take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be to love. So please do love. Send healing, goodwill, and love to all who need it. Feel get better. Share your holiness. Now, bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace and healing, for you to honor the people of your life, honor the journey you're on, honor yourselves. Keep your eyes open to what you may not be seeing. Keep your ears open and listen to the world around you, but decide for yourselves. And remember that it's because this is an organic book that the lessons, the laws, the ethics, the ritual may change with the times. It's how it stays current, how it speaks to you, how it stays relevant, new, meaningful in your life. Now remember, we do set in motion everything that happens in our lives, our intention, our cause, our effect. Everything is linked. As I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You do have that knowledge of what is good and bad. So acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you have wronged. Ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. Do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. It's in sight. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching, keep spreading your holiness, my friends. Do not follow fear. Follow love. Do not listen to the stories, the justifications, the fake news of others. Seek the truth for yourselves. It is always in front of you. Well, I've walked 200 miles now, look me over. It's the end of the chase, and the moon is high. It won't matter who loves who. You love me, I love you. When the night comes falling, when the night comes falling, when the night comes falling from the sky. Well, this week the night has come falling from the sky. Remember to have faith, an unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and forgiveness in all of you. And do not forget, we will be holding a special candle lighting ceremony next week on December the 21st, the solstice day of light. So if you'd like a candle lit and the name recited for someone, please send it to me and it will be included. The list is growing. It's over 60, 65 people right now. And it can never hold enough names or enough love. So thank you all once again for joining me, for participating, for sharing your lives, your love, your time, your sacredness with me. I truly do appreciate it. I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Be well until then. Shabbat Shalom, and greetings to you, and blessings to every single one of you. Thank you once again. Bye.